Welcome to the Visionary Spotlight, an interview series highlighting business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs who are visionaries in their fields. They're leading their industries with a track record of excellence and remarkable work. In these conversations, we learn a few of the key steps on each visionary's road to success, how they grew the business, reached their best customers, and what they've learned along the way. I'm Hammel-Shaver of Lumos Communications, and today I'm thrilled to be speaking with Shelly, the founder of HF Planners, a facility planning, design, and management firm. Caroline and her team create optimal work environments where employees are productive and engaged for organizations of all sizes, from small businesses to global corporations like Verizon and Nestle. Caroline, welcome to the Visionary Spotlight.
Thank you so much, Emily. It's great to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here. And your work is so interesting to me because it is such a blend of art, science, strategy, and the tactical, really hands-on management maintenance. So tell us more about what HF Planners does and what you're really known for.
Sure. We've been in business now 21 years, and essentially I had worked in facilities for a bank and an insurance company. And I just recognized the need that the facilities department, the day-to-day job on theirs is just totally all over the map. They could be dealing with running faucets all the way up to, hey, we need new headquarters space. And how are you going to do this? So it was natural for me to stay within the field, but to offer that type of a service outside. So we approach the facilities from the point of view as to how can we make the space work for the corporation, and what is their business strategy? Are they looking to grow? Are they looking to maintain? Is this their headquarters location? How many people do they have coming in or going out? Are they starting to work remote? And how does that even impact their facilities now? So it's really been exciting, and no two jobs are ever the same. And I imagine, it's the same for you too, designing websites that way, that, it's just, you peek into somebody's world and how can I help make it better? So that's our approach.
I love that. And your team is, they're all specialists in these realms: facilities planning, corporate interior design, and facilities management and maintenance, which is, like you said, it's a faucet isn't running correctly, all the way up to, do we need a new facility? What does our expansion look like? What is our business's profitability plan for the future? Mm-hmm. So fascinating. Did you have experience in all of those realms, or did you build out your team as the demand grew?
No, exactly. As the demand starts coming up, we address the situations. We'll put people on, designers on site, facility managers on site to help run buildings, and their capacity is broad as well. We might be creating a budget or a sustainability plan for one client, whereas another client, we might be maintaining office space for 2,000 employees, and where do these people sit, and how do you know what your vacancy rates are, and can we add more, or should we take away space? So right. Yeah, it's all interesting to see corporate America out there,
Right. And of course, there's a whole new challenge in, well, not just corporate America, globally. And I know that your team is hard at work right now helping your clients to rework their office spaces to comply with CDC regulations, and also just to help people at work be more comfortable addressing their concerns. What does that look like with you and your clients as they're working on bringing people back to in-person, or change as they are there now and needing to bring more people in, or just move with the times?
Yeah, no, you touched on a key word there, is change. So we're getting involved with, it's called change management. So it's not the same old workspace anymore. And employees are saying that due to COVID, I've learned how to work from home and I can prove myself, but also recognize the need to meet face-to-face and collaborate and, pick up incoming mail or whatever. So how do you, go from working at home 5 days a week now, okay, I'll be on site 2 days, and where am I going to sit? And how am I going to be socially distanced? So if you had a space that originally held 20 people, and now you're going to put them 6 feet apart, or maybe it's going to hold 10 people. So where are you going to put these other 10 people? And, who's coming in today versus tomorrow, and were they exposed to COVID or not? So they're involved with software apps to do this tracking. We're involved with planning the space so that it is socially distanced, adding screens or any sort of distancing that makes sense and is not, try and, take into consideration budget. Companies didn't plan for this, and now all of a sudden, hey, you have an extra $60,000 to spend on it, and how can we be creative for them as well?
Mhm.
And then, on top of it, well, how are you going to help them manage this change? So, gee, I want my old workstation, but I'm only going to be there 2 days a week. And real estate's very expensive for corporate America. So how can we, be efficient with that and help them save money as well? It's a very interesting mix and big puzzle these days.
Big puzzle sounds like the perfect euphemism to use. I know that your team is also running a survey right now, asking for people's responses about what their concerns are also coming back to work.
Correct.
And what are you finding, and what does that look like?
The main one is safety. Is the space going to be safe for me and clean? Then the second highest thing is the commute. People, have avoided a commute, and how can they still work properly and work from home, but still be productive? And then the third thing is making sure that the technology is there, the collaboration, is it still Zoom, or how are people working together? So you're starting to see more software changes going on out there with the technology companies, how to make this, more fluid for companies.
Wow. So this is all technology now that HF Planners is also incorporating into facility planning and design and management.
Yep, very true.
Wow. It's a big puzzle.
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
Well, I'm so grateful that there are people like you doing this work really thoughtfully, because I can imagine I've been lucky enough to work from home for the past 6 years, but it was a change for me to go from an office environment to home. And I can't imagine what it would be like having worked from home for the last year and a half, or whatever amount of time it was, to go from that environment back to an office place with, these concerns that we all have, and the ways we've adapted our schedule, our lives, our families, our energy. So it's must feel like a real blessing to your clients and their teams that they have people who are really thoughtfully easing that transition.
It's true. And it's interesting to watch is some of the companies, engage their marketing team as part of this whole workforce change, and how are they going to communicate, what is happening. And, some of the firms are very thoughtful, and how are they making sure employees are aware of what is happening, whereas other ones are a little bit more stringent. Hey, this is what we're doing, and this is what you better come back to. So it's very, I keep saying interesting, but I don't even think we've seen the full answer yet. I think this is going to play out for another year and a half, 2 years even, as to what is the new corporate America out there.
Right. And beyond that, right, we're very much inventing that now out of necessity.
True. Very true.
Well, let's talk about your business. So you founded HF Planners, you said, I think 21 years ago.
Correct. Yeah.
Along the way, what's one of the most meaningful actions that you took to grow the business?
I would say it was 10 years ago. I was challenged to become a women business enterprise and become supplier diversity. And, you take into consideration, for the first 10 years, it was just me, or I would bring on a consultant or somebody to support me if the job was large enough for that. And then, hey, why don't you become a women business enterprise? And why don't we partner on this job together? And a lot of challenges just started coming at me. And my initial reaction was no, I don't need that. There's no need to do more here. I've got plenty. And whatever reason out there, I woke up and, well, what if I said yes? And I keep going back to that. And ever since then, it's really, truly been a rocket ship. I've met fascinating employees. I've got great clients. The challenges have never stopped. And, you know, one thing that I hear back from clients and even other consultants who work for us is that, you know, you guys really take care of the client. I've never seen a company like HF Planners before. Typical design firms are, here's my proposal, you're getting 4 meetings, you're getting this drawing, you're getting that. And if you want anything else, it's, you know, stop the bus, that's this much more. So, you know, we really walk a client through a project, keep them in touch with what's going on. We partner the designers in the office, so nobody is alone here. And that if they're on vacation, the client can reach out to anybody in the office and know that their project's being taken care of.
Wow.
You know? Yeah.
Right. That commitment to client care is so important. But also I love what you said about, you know, it was this pivotal moment where becoming a woman-owned business and all that entailed would require a real commitment as well. And it can be very easy to just run with the status quo and not take on those new challenges. And so I just love that that was your point of view one morning. Like, sure, I could do that, but what if I said yes to something bigger, better, maybe harder at first? And here you are 10 years later, and you're saying that was you were pretty darn glad you said yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and I've had a fabulous business coach who has, you know, want some, you know, I'm going to be a designer, you know, but, you know, doesn't necessarily come natural that I'm going to do marketing or I'm doing sales or I'm doing business management. And Aldana Ambler has been a key person in this life. And, you know, for any company, I would recommend that they get a business coach just to help them stay on track and take into consideration things that does not come natural, you know?
Absolutely. Expanding our expertise and sometimes bringing in an expert to help us do that, especially when you have a skill and a talent in one area and it might not be running a business or marketing or sales. Speaking of which, at this stage, what have you found works best for you to reach your ideal customers?
We, you know, we try and have a robust marketing strategy going on, which is multiple points. We are emailing, we do a monthly newsletter. So we try and be educational to our clients and let them know what's going on and, you know, if they're interested or not. Then we do email them separately and picking up the phone. You know, not everyone picks up the phone anymore. And just to touch base, see what's going on and, you know, stay active in organizations where there's visibility there as well. So it's multifaceted. Yeah.
That makes sense. I have seen your newsletters and they're very useful, helpful, practical, educational, especially to businesses that may not always have facility planning and design on the forefront of their minds. It's a really good educational touch point for them. You know, what are a few of the most valuable investments that you've made in your marketing? All of those efforts are an investment, time, energy, resources, but anything specifically?
Well, the website was huge, and you know, you never realize, you know, the impression that you're putting out there until you have a great website to back you up. Yeah. So I have to thank Emily for launching us into that new endeavor. And that was 3 or 4 years ago now. And, you know, we try and maintain it. And what's important for an interiors firm are the photographs. You know, people want to see the pretty picture first, and then they start asking the hard questions. You know, how did you handle that job? What was involved? How much did it cost? Type thing. But the pretty pictures draw them in, and then you get going with it all. But then, you know, it's just spending the time and making sure you have the strategy and that you follow through on the strategy. So we change our topic monthly. So what we call them facility manager headaches. So what is the facility manager headache of the month and how do we start promoting that? So this month is audio visual concerns, you know, Zoom, everyone, you know, has jumped on Zoom or Teams and, you know, is that going to last? And how do you bring that back into the office? And, you know, is the conference room technology there or where do we have to start adding things in on that topic? But then for September, we're going back to an older headache called workplace strategy. So we're just going to keep building on it and see, where it can go. But we typically pick 5 headaches out so that we can be planning and, studying and researching what's going on in them. So everyone on the staff is up to date with what's going on in marketing.
Mm-hmm. I want to touch on a couple things there. First, I love that you mentioned the pretty pictures, because that is not an insignificant investment.
No, very true. Yep.
It is, it's time, it's money, it's finding the right photographer, especially if your clients are not local to you, which I know many of them are not. Yep. It's getting a great photographer that you're not, you're not showing up on site, or Elisa, your wonderful marketing person, is not showing up on site to manage that, or your designers. But for a business that does have a really logical visual representation like yours, it is such a useful investment. And that when I am, my words, the expression of pictures worth 1,000 words, I can write 1,000 words and I love doing it, but it's often something that I have to really push with clients. Like, you should really consider investing in great photography, or even as a placeholder, decent photography that, say, your designer can take while you're, setting aside the budget longer term to come back in when everything is, been fully styled or whatever it is.
It's true. I mean, even, social media is such a prevalent thing now. So we try and do the quick, iPhone shots and everything, and iPhone has come a long way.
It has. That's yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right. If you want it to look like something, you're setting up nice cameras with lighting and making sure, the sign-in book is off of the reception desk. So this looks like the proper space that people can relate to.
Right. Relate to and aspire to as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And you also had mentioned, I love that you have these headaches, which are very much evergreen for the facility manager that you can circle back to and plan accordingly for. And you had mentioned that your team really thinks ahead and is, I know you spend a lot of time and energy as well staying abreast in trends or changes in the industry so that you're able to, bring the right solutions to your clients' challenges. And I just think that your team has always done that really well. You've always built out a team that, with a commitment to not just that great level of care, but also they are experts at what they do, and they are up to date and they understand what's on the cutting edge. What else would you say has been really important to you in terms of building a great team and a great culture there?
Well, I mentioned before, we do the buddy system. So, typically it's a project manager with a designer, a junior designer. And, training is key to make sure that our standards are being used, and that the idea is that anyone could touch one of our AutoCAD drawings in-house, but the client should never know that the look is, carried across from job to job, that the writing is spot on, that, the training is there, so we know what's going on. We try and have a Friday morning training. So I have a junior designer leaving for college, coming up, getting her master's degree. And today she was cleaning out her desk. So this would be a great idea. Let's talk about closing out projects. You think, how easy is this? But, with interiors, okay, you've picked carpet, you've picked paint, you've picked wall covering, there's furniture finishes, there's lighting specs. Make sure all of that goes into the file so that in 3 years, when the carpet's stained, what was that original carpet, so that we could just pull it out of the file. So it's just,
right.
Thinking forward, but also, keeping the client in mind all along.
Right. It reduces the headache, and for everybody, but thinking about your team specifically, reduces headache when you're having multiple people on a project, and 3 years from now, when you've forgotten what the project was, or the carpet at least. And you had mentioned earlier, enabling people to be able to go on vacation and know that the rest of the team has got it. That's something that I think is not always very common in a slightly smaller organization, where people may be wearing more than one hat. There's that cultural idea of like, we all just get it done, and you don't always get to take a break and step back. But you've really set things up so that people can do that there.
It is true. Very true. Yeah. Yep.
And what are your favorite non-negotiable ingredients for living a good life? Maybe as an entrepreneur, but maybe just outside of business, your own personal life.
Yeah, no, this past year and a half has been very stressful, just making sure we have the work, to make sure I can keep my employees, make sure that we're all staying safe and healthy. So there's no doubt it has been a stressful year. But in January, I realized, hey, I've got to be doing something for myself here too. So, I joined the health club, and you hope they're keeping us safe there. But just started to take up golfing, which is very odd to me. But and I'll just try and stay focused. There's just so many things, and you start off Monday and think, okay, where's this week gonna go? And then you turn around, it's Friday, and if you got half your list done, you're lucky. Being mindful of it all.
Yeah. Right. Mindfulness is really, it's the foundation. And yet somehow it's the thing we forget about first.
Absolutely.
But it's the piece that's holding us all together. But I think, so you had mentioned the health club, which I think is like, exercise is really such an extension of mindfulness. And even golf. I mean, I'm not a golfer, but it's always been an attractive sport to me because you're outside in nature. And there's something about it that seems calming. It's like one thwack at the ball, and then ideally it goes where you want it to go. But I just think that's really cool. Were you a golfer previously? This is brand new to you?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. No.
Good for you.
Exactly like you said. I think Wednesday we went out and it was a 5 o'clock start, and it was humid and the bugs were out. But then by the time it was 6:30, it was like, oh, this is almost pleasant out here, and I'm really enjoying it. I don't care if my ball's going left or something. This is just kind of nice to be with these people.
Right. It's a social sport.
Yes.
And then also just the fact that you're introducing something new, I think is something that we shy away from. Again, sort of circling back to the beginning of our conversation, the idea of like sticking with the status quo versus trying something new and maybe difficult. When we say yes to those things, it really can change our perspective, our confidence even. I started CrossFit a couple of months ago, and I was terrified. And then of course, like every day that I take a new class and, do what my body can handle, and I have bad ankles, so I modify for my limitations. Just the sheer act of doing something new and challenging is in and of itself exciting, but it really increases my feeling of competence in other areas of life in a very interesting way.
Yeah. Are you pushing tires over and everything?
No, they actually don't have they have them, but it's been so blazing hot. Maybe they just haven't been incorporating those. I know, but that's the stereotypical CrossFit thing. There's a lot of lifting of things, so. But I love that. That's my favorite kind of exercise, strength building. So. Well, tell us what's next for you. What are you really excited about at the moment?
What am I excited about? I'm looking forward to the, last third of the year. Somebody had once coined the phrase that Labor Day is your second New Year's Eve, that there's another fresh start here. And I embrace that. I think there's a lot said to how can you finish out the year and what is the excitement that could happen here. But yeah. We'll see.
Still some unknowns. Your sense of the last quarter is like a little bit, what's going to happen?
It's very true. The Delta variant gonna take us all out again. Can we marshal through it? Which I would like to believe that we can get through this again and see where it goes. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure your clients are really glad that they've got you in their court as we look ahead and need to solve problems like that. And find something to be said for getting back to a status quo, because that that comfort is really nice too, especially when we've been missing it and challenging ourselves to do hard things for quite some time. So
I agree.
yeah. Well, to wrap up, tell us where people can find you and follow you, and I'll make sure that they're linked below.
Sure. hfplanners.com is our website. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram and Facebook. HF Planners LLC is our handle there.
Perfect. I'll make sure that they're included here. Caroline, thank you so much for sharing your experience and insight with us. It's been so illuminating. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Great to be here.
Oh, thank you. So to stay in touch with Caroline and HF Planners and be the first to see future visionary spotlights, click the links below to follow us. And thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time.
All right.